Right, so if you couldn't tell from the headband and the shirt, I just watched the new Karate Kid Legends. With that being said, I'm going to now rank every Karate Kid movie from my least favorite to my favorite. What I think is the worst to what I believe to be the best. Now, Karate Kid is a series that I love. I love the original trilogy. The reboot with Jaden Smith exists, and we don't talk about the next Karate Kid. And Cobra Kai is a phenomenal show. I remember watching it when it first hit like YouTube Red. I had like I think a free trial of it, and so I was like, I'll check out this show because Karate Kid's a cool movie series because I'd already seen all the movies before that point. And I didn't know they were like reviving like the series. And I watched it and I'm like, holy crap, this is a phenomenal show. So, gonna rank all 6 movies. Not going to rank. Not gonna put Cobra Kai into the mix. It is part of the series technically. It's a spinoff, of course, but it's not really. I don't know. You can't really rank shows with movies and this sort of thing. It's just really, to me, it doesn't work. So, gonna rank the movies. Starting at number 6. I was hesitant to add this one just because I feel as though modern day Karate Kid doesn't even see it as canon. But the next Karate Kid, starring Hilary Swank. This is just a movie that exists. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't add to anything other than just like, you guys know Mr. Miyagi? Here he is. That's like the only bit of Karate Kid you get in there. That's like the only remnants of any Karate Kid project you get is you get Mr. Miyagi and then a failed attempt at trying to revitalize the series after what was Karate Kid 3. Didn't work clearly because they did not do anything with it. They just had to come back in the year 2010 and make the Kung Fu Kid. So that's not a whole lot you can say about it. It's just not good. It's just very bad. Coming in at number 5 is the Karate Kid reboot, Karate Kid 2010, Jaden Smith Karate Kid, the Kung Fu Kid, whatever you call it. Unpopular opinion, it ain't good. First and foremost, they use Kung Fu instead of Karate, so why you call it Karate Kid? I don't know. I mean, you could have called it the Kung Fu Kid. People would have still had a problem with it because it's the same story as Karate Kid, which is one of the movie's biggest issues. Is it doesn't do anything new really. It's other than like half Kung Fu, but then that's not even like a. Well, it's something different. That's got to be good. Not really. It's just a rehash. It's a kid moving to a place he's unfamiliar with. He doesn't really fit in. He gets picked on, meets a girl that likes him, and he likes her. Same old Karate Kid story, but not very good. They ruined the crane kick. The karate tournament is a lot. Oh, sorry, Kung Fu tournament is a lot bigger than, say, like the All Valley. But you gotta look at the culture. You gotta look at the culture that is at play here. So it's like, it's understandable. Jackie Chan, I think, is like really the redeeming quality of this movie. But Jackie Chan can really do no wrong, so it just kind of comes as no shock. Coming in at number 4, we have Karate Kid Part 3. Now, I actually enjoy this movie. I don't mind it. I think it is a watchable, enjoyable movie. That being said, it does have its issues. Think they had a really, really good movie in mind. Not really, really good, but a passable movie in mind. And I feel like they tried to replicate sort of like the first Karate Kid movie. I think they tried to replicate that and tried to replicate that formula, but without knowing what the formula was. It was just, hey, so there's this kid who wants to do karate, and there's a bad guy, and they gotta fight. And that's really all they thought the formula was. But they were wrong. I mean, what's wrong with the movie? A good bit, actually. I feel like their focus was not where it should have been, right? For most of the movie, the focus was on like Mr. Miyagi's new bonsai business. And they put too much focus on that. And I understand why, right? I get the bonsai thing, but they worry too much about that rather than developing characters like Mike Barnes and even Terry Silver to a degree. Terry Silver was one of the best parts of the movie, but I feel like we could have used a little bit more of him and definitely more of Mike Barnes, because all in all, it was like, it seems to be a problem with some like Karate Kid movies is they want to do everything within a time frame, but they don't have the time to do everything they want to do, if that makes sense. I probably should have said that differently. There's all the stuff they want to do, but they want to do it within a specific time frame. That's a lot better. So obviously, you can have these stories. Like, it's, if you want to have the bonsai thing as well as develop like the actual main Karate Kid story, do that. Don't rush with like the most important parts, right? So, like, Mike Barnes isn't really developed really well. He's just they just kind of made him angry for whatever reason. Like Mike Barnes does not have a reason to, like, no justifiable reason to be upset, right? He's not a justified character. Everyone else within the Karate Kid universe who gets pissed off at, like, the main character has every reason to be, right? I keep saying right a lot. I apologize for that. Like, Johnny Lawrence had his reasons to be upset with Daniel. You could even argue it was reasonable. They developed him well. He was in it for a good chunk of the movie, and he was developed, and you could see him getting trained and who he is as a person, and blah 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 blah. And you see the back and forth there, and that's what works about that. This, you don't really get that. You just see Mike Barnes is paid to be pissed off at Daniel LaRusso for whatever reason. So a funny part is, like, how in this movie, they think like the All Valley is like this. They feel like it's more like hardcore than it actually is, because it's like, hey buddy, I want you to sign up for the All Valley. Like at some points it seems like they want to make this like a mob movie, because freaking Mike Barnes shows up with these random goons to the shop to confront Daniel and get him to sign up for the All Valley, and he's just like, hey, sign this paper, we're gonna kill you. It's like, dude, it's a karate tournament. You get it's not a paid karate tournament. I know Mike Barnes gets paid by Terry Silver on under the table, but it's a karate tournament for teenagers. Relax. I feel like the love interest thing, I get what they were going for, but they didn't portray it too well. Because it's like technically not a love interest, but you gotta have a love interest type person in there. But she has a boyfriend, and it's a whole will they won't they thing, and it ends up just being won't they. Like, they shouldn't be together because she's got a guy, but then they keep leaning in towards like, well, maybe they will. They seem to be compatible. But it's like, she has a boyfriend. It ain't gonna work. But what I do like about this movie, though, because I've been ranting a lot about what I don't care for and what doesn't work. What really works for this movie is Mr. Miyagi. Mr. Miyagi doesn't miss. Mr. Miyagi does not miss at all. Oh my gosh. That's where the bonsai stuff is supposed to come in, where he kind of teaches this lesson about, strong roots. And, you got to know yourself and know who you are within to be good and to do what you want to do and achieve what you want to achieve. And to be, you just got to know yourself and be true to yourself. Beautiful lesson. Very well done. But again, too much time spent on the bonsais. Not enough on, like, developing literally anything else in the story. Because it's as if they were just like, we need a good lesson, but we also need to remember this is a Karate Kid movie where he's got to fight somebody. And again, back on the Mike Barnes thing. Plot armor. Good lord, the plot armor in this movie is insane. Because when Daniel originally wants to be in the All Valley, right? This is supposed to take place like a year after the first Karate Kid. He's like, hey, I'm ready to make my comeback. I'm ready to go back to back, Great news, Mr. Miyagi. New rules because the plot needs it. The champion of the last year's All Valley gets to go straight to the finals. You know what competition that happens in? None. Literally none. You will never be in any sort of competition where if you won the previous year, you just get to go to the finals. Not how that works. But they needed a reason to have him in a final fight without going through another fighting montage. Because why not? Because, it's convenient to the plot, and you need it to be a 90-minute movie. So I thought that was super, super goofy, and I'm like, all right, great plot armor. Because of that, it really makes the final fight feel as though the payoff wasn't earned, right? It does not feel earned, especially with him being injured. That's going to be the last thing I touch up on, I think, is the final fight is terrible. Legitimately one of the worst, fights of Karate Kid ever. Because, one, nothing happened. Legitimately, it's like he hurts Daniel a bunch, and Daniel's just like, oh, I'm down for the count, Mr. Miyagi, I'm scared, I can't do it. And Mr. Miyagi has to just go in there and be like, dog, chill out, right? Go in there, fight him, you got it. But then it feels earned, because in the first Karate Kid, I know I'm comparing everything to the first, but that's kind of what they try to replicate here. In the first movie, he's like beat up throughout the tournament, right? Gets the crap beat out of, not the crap beat out of him, but he gets severely injured whilst facing some Cobra Kai guys, or they hurt him in some way, whether it's throughout the fight or not. Either way, he's fatigued. He's been kind of roughed up a little bit, so he's already kind of, out of it. Not like out of it, but a little roughed up. And he gets severely injured. And so when he's fighting and he's injured, it's like that payoff is a lot. That payoff feels earned, right? When he hits the crane kick, it works perfectly. For what it is, it needed to happen. Not like it needed to happen, but it felt earned. This was just like, I don't know. And what also doesn't help is that you never really truly see how strong Mike Barnes is. They never show him really training. They never really show him training throughout. And you really never get the sense of how strong he is. It's just like, take our word for it for the final fight. He's strong. They try to make him like an Ivan Drago type character where it's like super strong guy, watch out. But they actually showed Ivan Drago how he gets strong, how he's so powerful. It shows him training. They don't really get that Mike Barnes. You get like a 30 I don't even think it's 30 seconds of him just like punching wood, and that's what you're supposed to work off of. So there's that. And so that's why I feel like when he gets hurt, it just doesn't feel like he's really hurt. It doesn't really feel like the pain was earned, if that makes sense. I like the kata, you know, when he used that before like the final blow. Final blow. Again, this fight was terrible. He literally flips Mike to end the freaking fight. It's like, all right, we're gonna get another crank kick, and he's just like, oh, that's it, guys. I won the fight. And they tried to make it a lot bigger than the first one ever was, and it's not. The fight from the first movie was obviously like the best you'll ever get out of this series, because again, everything feels earned. It feels like you went through the journey, you went through this pain, the struggle to get there, and so it feels earned. This does not, and it's just a terrible fight overall. So yeah, that's how I feel about that movie. And I know it's like I've ranted a lot about what I don't like. I still enjoy the movie. That's the thing. I think it's an enjoyable movie. The lessons from Mr. Miyagi are still top notch, and it still has somewhat of its own identity somewhere in there. It's like sort of a rehash of the first movie, but it has enough of its own identity to be like, all right, well, it's not really the first movie. There's some other things I liked about it. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what I was going to say about it. I just know that there's other stuff that I liked. Oh, yes. So another thing I liked, this will be the last, I promise will be the last thing I touch up on, is we see Daniel training with Cobra Kai. That's really where I think where most of the focus should have gone to. There wasn't enough of that. We see Cobra Kai and what it does to Daniel, but again, it doesn't truly feel earned because we don't get enough of that. Again, focus less on this thing right here, the bonsai. Focus more on like, you know, the main plot of what it should be. And Daniel working with Cobra Kai to really get a sense of how bad they are and kind of get his whole character arc throughout all that. Anyways, moving on to number 3. Number 3 is Karate Kid Part 2. I love this movie. This is one that I think if you were going to follow up with a sequel to The Karate Kid, this was the way to go. Obviously not a rehash, but it still kind of followed the similar formula. But you get it really is essentially a Mr. Miyagi movie, which I love. I love that we get to learn a lot about Mr. Miyagi and his origins and how he kind of became him. I love that. I love how we got to go to Okinawa and see the impact he's had on the people of Okinawa and his family and his legacy and all that. You get to meet Chozen and that other girl, I forgot her name, I apologize. And I mean, everything here I think is done well. It was a solid sequel. I feel is underappreciated. Chozen feels like an earned villain. It feels like we've got to see him develop to being like the bad guy of the thing, which he does get to redeem himself, especially in Cobra Kai. Chozen became such a great character in Cobra Kai. But to see him, you know, be the way he is in this, everything feels earned. Everything feels right. The fight was great. The final fight was great. And just the final ending move being a callback to the beginning of the movie. I think it was well done. The lessons being taught by Mr. Miyagi, because Mr. Miyagi does not miss. And just everything that went with that and everything that goes on in this movie, I think is just well done, and it works so well. I love it. Coming in at number 2 is Karate Kid Legend. Maybe it's recency bias, but I thought it was a good movie. It obviously has issues, which I will talk about. It has its flaws, but generally speaking, I enjoyed the movie. You know, we get the return of Mr. Han, again, the best part of the Karate Kid reboot. And then we get Daniel. I wish, dude, if we could have gotten a Mr. Han, Mr. Miyagi movie, oh, it'd be amazing. R.I.P. Pat Morita. So a lot of things worked here. This is, again, it's a typical formula. Kid moves to a place he's not really familiar with. He's not exactly wildly popular, gets picked on, gets a girl, blah, 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 blah. It's the formula. But they did something differently. And again, it's able to have its own identity because of that. So the first half was really well done. Well-paced, great story, great different story from what we're used to seeing. And the second half, you know, it's good. Not as good as the first half, but it gets the job done. You know, so basically, spoilers ahead, by the way. So this kid moves from Beijing to New York because of his mom's job. He doesn't really fit in too well. Meets a girl, helps her dad, who used to be a boxer, but the dude owes money to loan sharks, and so he was going to return to boxing to get that money to pay him back because deadline's here. You got to pay back the money you owe, like the money you owe. So he's like, I can help you. I know kung fu. And he's like, but this is boxing. But he didn't. The kid, I think his name was Lee, was like, yo, kung fu's in everything. So it'll work with boxing. So he does that, and he trains him well. You have this little montage, which the montage was nice. Great to get a good montage in there. But of course, it ain't enough because jealous ex-boyfriend of the love interest gotta be a problem. Gotta be a problem for the main character. So he's just kind of there, and he just kind of picks on the kid. But I say he's just there. He's not. Again, he's well done. He doesn't really, I feel, get fully developed just because of the later half of the movie. But he's done a lot better than like Mike Barnes, for example. And he's just someone who's easy to hate. So that's good. But yeah, I mean, the kid deals with a lot of PTSD from his brother. His mom doesn't want his mom doesn't want him fighting because his brother died indirectly because of fighting. So just having that inner struggle is always good too. Yeah, dude loses the fight due to a dirty boxer, and he's in the hospital. But the kid's just like, well, I need to help you earn this money. So he wants to fight in the karate tournament, big karate tournament, the 5 boroughs, which I feel like they tried to make the 5 boroughs bigger than it really was. Like they tried to make it sort of like the All Valley. The 5 boroughs is not the All Valley. This was such a like street. This is a street fight essentially. They did this crap in like alleyways and on top of a skyscraper. This was not an official, like, legitimate fight. I don't know how there's any money on the line here. The second half of the movie definitely feels a bit rushed because it feels like they had a really good story to begin with, and they were like, oh wait, this is a Karate Kid movie. Back to formula. Love interest, you know, the ex-boyfriend's the bad guy. The main guy's obviously gonna fall for the girl. There's got to be a karate tournament. So it's like, okay. The training montage is way quicker, way too quick. There's hardly even a montage. It's just like you see the countdown on the screen of just like how many days until the big tournament. It's like 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It just doesn't really do anything with that. I feel as though there's not enough of like an inner struggle with learning karate. It feels like he learned too quickly and learned too easily. Because I felt as though there should have been a struggle there of some sort. Because like he knew Kung Fu, obviously he needed to know more, but he needed to know karate for this karate tournament. There needs to be a struggle. Maybe he fights someone and he's using too much Kung Fu and not enough karate. And so he's got to learn some lesson in there somewhere. But it's just like the karate is way too easy for him. Like it's not like too much of a struggle because like he already knows Kung Fu and he already somewhat knows of Mr. Miyagi's roots of teaching, I guess. The tournament, again, it's a street level tournament pretty much. It's not like an official thing, and it's not as big as they try to make it out to be in the movie. And the fights are good. The choreography in this movie was really, really, really good. I loved it. But again, the fights were just let's rush through so we can get to the final fight, and that was really it. For that. Now, the final fight is so unrealistic in the sense that it was on top of a skyscraper, which is kind of funny how they did it, right? So that at the end of the fight, it was like, all right, come back for the tournament, for like the championship tournament, but we're going to be on top of a skyscraper. And that's all they said, which I'm like, all right, that's very vague, but also unrealistic because they would never allow anyone to fight on top of a skyscraper because one bad move and you're cooked. You're splat. That's it. So, a very bad idea to do that on top of a roof. I understand why, because you want it to look cool, great. But let's be real, that's never going to happen. Unless you're the Ninja Turtles or you're the Avengers, you're never going to fight on top of a skyscraper. Especially for a street level, unofficial, not really well recognized karate tournament in New York. I do think it's funny though how the main antagonist bully guy is like he kind of beats up on Lee, and after he's like yeah, because like he's fighting at school and the teacher's kind of break him up. He's like yeah, fight me in the tournament, fight me in the 5 boroughs tournament where no one can stop you, where no one can hold you back. And I'm like, whoa, what's that? Is that supposed to be an own? Like, hey, meet me in the alleyway at this time. We're gonna duke it out. Now let's meet me in the tournament, buddy. That's not as cool as you think it sounds, dude. Good lord. Yeah, but overall, it was a good movie. It was an enjoyable movie. It was one of the better ones. The performances were great. The editing was really nice. Like they did a lot of like animated like graphics, especially in the beginning. The beginning was really cool because it's Mr. Miyagi from Karate Kid Part 2 kind of explaining like talking about kind of the origins of his like karate style and how that kind of went to China and was integrated into the Han family. And the graphic they showed for it was really cool. It was this nice like animated cartoony thing, and they used that throughout the movie, and I love that. Again, the story was good. Again, I think the first half of the story, if they would have kept that, would have been a much better movie, personally. But it's still overall a solid movie where they develop characters pretty well. And some of the villains the antagonists are developed pretty well, and the inner struggles are portrayed well and are valid struggles. So that's why it's probably my second favorite Karate Kid movie, and probably the second best one, to me at least. And coming in at number 1, should have guessed it, The Karate Kid. This is really what you got to work with. This is what you had. This is really the blueprint for the type of movie it's trying to be. Not like kung fu movies or karate movies, but anything involving like teenagers and karate or coming of age stories. Oh, also, I had this sitting right next to me. So, yeah, I got, like, the entire series. I got this, like, 2 or 3 years ago. Because it's one of my favorite film series of all time. But, yeah, I mean, everything works here. Because, again, everything past this tried to replicate it. You know, the characters are well developed. The story is well developed. You get to see the antagonists in action. And you get to see what makes them strong, what makes them bad, per se. Something that a lot of people don't notice, I guess. Or something that the movie doesn't really seem to address is Daniel isn't exactly innocent the entire time. A lot of the issues that he deals with, especially with like the Cobra Kai guys and Johnny, is kind of self-inflicted. He does instigate a lot of things, but Johnny isn't always innocent either. And so that's what helps it. Helps with the story be cohesive. The fights were great. Again, everything felt earned. The final fight, the final move, the final crane kick, it felt earned. Especially because here and this one is when you really feel like he was down for the count. The third one was just like, all right, get up, buddy, come down. This one, it felt like he was actually down for the count. Dude could not stand up. He had to go into like the infirmary, I guess, nurse's office, whatever you want to call it. He had to go in there. He almost dropped out of the fight because of it, because of his injury. And then Mr. Miyagi's just like, I got you, buddy. And then gave him the magic touch. Healed him for the most part to where he could just barely stand on that leg, and he hit him with the crane kick, and everything that had been built up to that point came to that moment where everything that's what really makes the final hit perfect. Is everything up to that point, the beatings he's been taking, everything that he's been going through up to that point, it led up to that moment where everything was earned and everything felt right. And so it's just the perfect Karate Kid movie. None of them are gonna even come close to this one. Mr. Miyagi, his lessons, so good. Daniel as a character developed well. He's obviously not the most mature kid, but he knows when to lock in when he needs to. And even Johnny, he's not a sore loser. You know, he gets hit, he gets up, and he's like, "Hey, you're not bad, LaRusso. Here's your trophy." And just, it's beautiful. So well done. So well done. And Cobra Kai really adds to it, which I'm going to spend the last bit of the video talking about that. So that's my ranking. I'm going to spend the last video talking about the overall universe of The Karate Kid and just how it is overall as a sort of universe. So something The Karate Kid does right is it knows how to continue its story. It knows how to respect the past, embrace the future, do what it needs to do to tell a good story. Cobra Kai proves that well. It's very evident that the creators and the writers of Cobra Kai love The Karate Kid. This is clearly made by passionate Karate Kid fans, right? Because who just decides after like 30 years, hey, let's make a Karate Kid show, a follow-up to The Karate Kid that obviously did not end on like a high note with its movies because the third one was not too well received, although I enjoyed it personally. Let's just continue with it. And they did it so well because they knew how to respect the source material, respect the lore, I guess. And it proves it's not difficult to do. So like when Star Wars screws up on a storyline or screws up with their shows or whatever, you look at it and I mean it has so much lore to it, so much backstory, so much source material from movies, comics, games, shows that you can work with, and it's like the rules of said universe, and you can go just go by that and you make something good. But they don't do that, and they ruin what was there was always there to begin with. And Cobra Kai does not do that. They respect what was there before. They build on with it. They build onto it. They use what was already there. They're limited to 3 movies. They knew how to, like, what to take from there and what to work with. And it even makes the movies better because you get backstory of like John Kreese and Terry Silver and Johnny Lawrence, and you get more backstory to them where you can empathize with them to a degree. And they become less like these evil, stereotypical bad guy characters and become likable, understandable people. You get backstory to Mr. Miyagi, which you never really knew, and Daniel struggles with kind of having to deal with who Mr. Miyagi was in the past, as well as, again, it's not even that not even the parts that enhance the older stories. It's just it takes everything and improves on it. It takes everything from old movies and improves upon them in the show. They just respect everything that came before. And that's something you can appreciate about the series. Like the Karate Kid series as a whole, including Cobra Kai, it respects the source material. It knows how to treat it moving forward. And that's not only are the movies good, not only do I enjoy the movies and Cobra Kai, but I enjoy the fact that it knows how to treat the series and knows how to respect itself. And it has people... Cobra Kai was not a soulless cash grab to capitalize on the Karate Kid franchise because there's nothing to capitalize on. The series was over. Like, no one was like dying for another Karate Kid movie or show or anything related to Karate Kid. No one was just itching for it. It was made purely out of respect and out of the love of the series. And it shows that because they put so much time and care into it. Yeah, it gets cheesy, but it still knows what it is and it knows how to handle itself. And that's just how the Karate Kid is overall. So throughout its ups and downs, it is still a solid series that you can always go back and be like, yeah, I'll watch it. Anyways, that's my rankings. Let me know if you agree, disagree, what you might change, what you would, what's your favorite Karate Kid movie, or Cobra Kai story, series, episode, whatever. I would love to do more rankings like this. I think this is only my second one because I did a Planet of the Apes one before, which that took a while, I'll tell you what. But I'll have to do more movie rankings. Let me know any series you would like me to rank, or you would like my personal ranking of, because I would love to discuss more movies. And remember, kids,
don't forget to breathe. Very important.